who will make it to the semi-finals? Yes guys, welcome back to another video on the channel, and today welcome to my Europa League quarter-final second leg predictions. Like I said just then, we will find out tonight who will make it to the semi-finals of the Europa League. 4 very good games to look forward to, but the question is, who will be in the final 4 of this year's Europa League? Make sure to, we'll find out now, so make sure to smash a like, subscribe, and let's get into the video. Okay, and the first game comes from the Estadio de Balidos, where it is Celta Vigo taking on Freiburg. Now, Freiburg are currently 3-0 up after the first leg win last week at Europa Park Stadion. A brilliant performance from Freiburg with goals from Vincenzo Grifo, Beste, and Matthias Ginter getting on the score sheet as well. I mean, I did watch the highlights earlier as I was thinking about this video. And to be fair, Freiburg going forward looked really, really good. They looked really dominant going forward, Freiburg. Celta Vigo defensively just didn't really know what to do, to be honest. And the main players for Celta Vigo, you got Iglesias up front, the Swedesman, Svedberg on the right, on the left wing. None of Celta Vigo's main players really turned up, really, and it looked a disappointing performance from Celta Vigo, but a brilliant result for Freiburg, and maybe they could have got another goal or two with the chances they had. And of course, Celta Vigo, they're going to need a remontada tonight. Whether they will do it is a different question. I mean, it might happen because Celta Vigo have got a very good home record, and Freiburg's away record in this competition isn't great. But Celta Vigo, you know, they have beaten some fairly decent sides this year. Obviously, they beat Lyon in the last round to get here. So, and Lyon are a good side. They've got some good players in their side, Lyon. And if they can beat Lyon, Celta Vigo over 2 legs, then surely Celta Vigo have got the quality to get past this Freiburg side. But I said it in the first leg last week. The Celta Vigo have got to watch out for Vincenzo Grifo. Of course, I think he scored. Did I say he scored? I was going to double check. Yeah, he did score last week, so they have got to watch out for him again tonight. And I think it's important, really, that Celta Vigo try and keep a clean sheet. Obviously they're going to have to go all-out attack. They're going to have to go all-out attack, Celta Vigo, if they want to try and complete this comeback. But if they can, defensively, they've got to try and stop players like Vincenzo Grifo, Suzuki in the 10. And also they've got to try and stop as well the striker up front, the Croatian 23-year-old Igor Matanovic, who, looking at his heat map now, he was very threatening, kind of more on that right hand side area of the penalty area. And obviously he did score. Did he score to get an assist? He got an assist in the first leg last week. But from looking at his stats here, you know, he got 1 assist, 12 out of 19 accurate passes. I mean, just looking at his attacking stats here, he had 44 touches in the game. 2 passes into the final third, 1 accurate long ball, and it looks like he had a decent game from looking at his stats. So Celta Vigo got to watch out for him. And just like I said just then, they've got to be organised defensively. Celta Vigo, they've got to try and keep Grifo quiet. They've got to keep Matanovic quiet. They've got to keep kind of the whole Freiburg attack quiet, really. And for Celta Vigo as well, they've got to get the ball into Iglesias, get it out wide to Svedberg as well. They've got to Celta Vigo have got to get the main players involved a lot in this game, and the first goal will be massive in this game. If Freiburg get it, it's game over, it's tie over. If Celta Vigo get it, then it is game on. But my prediction in the end for this game, I do think Celta Vigo will win because they are fairly decent at home in this competition, and at home they've put up a fight against some big European sides. But I think the win for Celta Vigo won't be enough, and I think Freiburg will go through to the semi-finals. So my prediction is Celta Vigo 2, Freiburg 1, and that means Freiburg will go through 4-2 on aggregate to the semi-finals. Okay, and the next game is from Villa Park, where it is Aston Villa versus Bologna. Now, Aston Villa lead by 3-1 after the first leg win last week at the Stadio Renato de Lara. I did have this game on, and I'll tell you what, I thought first half Bologna were very good. It wasn't the greatest first half from Aston Villa, of course. They did go 1-0 down, an own goal from Konza, but luckily the Argentinian Santiago Castro was offside in the build-up. So obviously, luckily for Villa, that goal got chalked off. But they did take the lead just before half-time for Ezri Konsa, and Villa in the second half were a lot better. Obviously, they got the second goal quite early on through Ollie Watkins in the 51st minute. And obviously, Bologna, they did have some fairly decent chances. And eventually, they did get a goal through Jonathan Rowe, who, in my opinion, I thought Jonathan Rowe was the best player on the pitch last week. I thought he was fantastic, in my opinion. And Villa have got to watch out for him tonight, because he was just absolutely brilliant, in my opinion. I think they've got to watch out for Lewis Ferguson as well, the former Aberdeen midfielder, and of course Scottish international. I thought he was fairly decent as well. Obviously, like I just said about Celta Vigo, obviously Bologna defensively have got to be compact. They've got to try and stop the Villa attack, which they probably can do, because you look at players like Watkins and Rodgers. Don't get me wrong, they're good players, but I think you look at players like Watkins recently and Rodgers, they haven't been as great. I know Watkins scored twice in the first leg out in Italy last week, but take away the 2 goals he scored, Watkins didn't really do a lot. And I mean, Villa, they will have the advantage with it being at home, but Bologna, they'll be up for this, because I thought they generally played really well last week. Like I said, Jonathan Rowe was really good. Lewis Ferguson in midfield was decent. And in fairness to Bologna and Vincenzo Italiano, Bologna are a decent side. And I know the last 2 times they've been to Villa Park, Bologna, they've lost both times, but the meeting earlier in the competition was only 1-0. They only lost 2-0 in the Champions League as well. And I do think Bologna actually will score tonight. I think it probably might come through Jonathan Rowe. If not, it might come through someone like Bernardeschi or Santiago Castro potentially. But Villa, they've got a good home record in this competition. I know recently they haven't been great, but I think that goal in stoppage time from Watkins was massive, because if the score was 2-1, then I think Bologna will have a bit more of a chance. But because Villa have got a 2-goal lead, I think they'll get the job done in the end. So my prediction, I'm going to go Aston Villa 2, Bologna 1, and that means Aston Villa will win 5-2 on aggregate. I think it's 5-2. Let me just double check. Is it 5-2? Yeah, they'll win 5-2 on aggregate. Okay, and we're actually going to stay in England, and we're going to go to the City ground, where it is Nottingham Forest taking on FC Porto. Now, it was a 1-1 draw out in Portugal last week. A very good result at the Estadio de Dragão for Nottingham Forest. Looking at the stats, it looks like Porto dominated the game. I did watch the highlights, and it did really look like Porto dominated the game. They had an XG of 2.16. They had 16 shots and 8 on target. Only 6 shots for Forest and only 2 on target. So Porto definitely had some very, very good chances. But defensively, Forest were very, very good. They had 17 tackles, 12 interceptions made, 18 clearances, 7 saves from the goalkeeper, Stefan Ortega. So defensively, Forest were very, very solid, and they've got to do the exact same tonight. And I think defensively, I think both sides are fairly decent. Forest defensively are decent, and you look at the defence that Porto have got. You've got obviously the experienced Thiago Silva in there. You've got Jan Bednarek, of course, the former player of Southampton. Obviously, you've got Costa at right back and potentially Sanusi at left back. So defensively, both sides are fairly decent. Obviously there is still no Samu, because he has got that injury, which is going to leave him out apparently until late April. But he has got I can't pronounce that word. Apologies if I pronounce this word wrong. He's got a cruciate ligament injury, so it's quite a bad injury. So he's probably most likely not. He's probably going to be out for the rest of the season, really. Luke de Jong, obviously he's out for the season as well. So they have got 2 big players missing tonight. Porto, you can actually say a 3rd big player missing tonight, not due to injury but due to suspension. There is no Oscar Piatashki for Porto tonight, who's a young Polish player. He was brilliant for Poland during the most recent international break, and from what I've seen, he's been fairly decent for Porto. So not having him tonight will be big. So I mean, like I said, losing De Jong, Samu, and Piateski, those are three big players not available tonight for Porto, and Forest will probably be quite happy with that. You've got to remember as well that Forest actually did beat Porto in Sean Dyche's first game in the City Ground. It was a fairly decent result for Forest. I mean, for Porto, they have got to watch out for Igor Jesus. He's been quite important in this competition. You've got to watch out for Gibbs White behind him. Forest going forward, obviously with Hutchinson and Hudson-Odoi out wide, they can be fretful. You've got Gibbs White in behind Jesus. I mean, Anderson in midfield will have a key role as well. And, I mean, obviously for Porto, obviously William Gomez was the player who scored last week. So Forest are going to watch out for him out on that right-hand side. Obviously, Boya Sainz, formerly of Norwich, he was decent at Norwich. I'm not sure how good he's been for Porto, but from what I remember at his days at Norwich, Forest have got to watch out for him as well. And obviously got to watch out for Silva and Bednarek at the back, because obviously they could pop up for a corner potentially. And Forest obviously defensively, when they're defending a corner, they've got to watch out for them too. But in the end, I think this will be a very, very tight game. Like I said, I think both sides defensively are fairly decent. I mean, Forest going forward might have a slight advantage because of the players Porto are missing. But in the end, I'm going to go with the same scoreline as it was last week. I'm going to go Nottingham Forest 1, Porto 1. That means it's going to be 2-2 on aggregate. And I think it's going to go all the way to a penalty shootout. And in the end, it's going to be, in my opinion, I think if you look at both keepers, you've got Stefan Ortega for Forest, Diogo Costa for Porto. Diogo Costa, more experience than Ortega is in the penalty shootout. In my opinion, I'm going to back Porto to win on penalties, and that's truly because I just think Diogo Costa has got a bit more experience than Stefan Ortega does in the penalty shootout. So, prediction, I'm going to go 1-1 Porto to win on penalties. Okay, and the final game then of this quarterfinals of the Europa League is Real Betis against Braga. Now, it was a 1-1 draw out at the Estadio Municipal de Braga last week. I did watch a bit of the first half last week because this game was on a Wednesday. And to be fair, Braga started well, to be fair, from what I saw. They took the lead early on when Florian Grilic scored after 5 minutes. And it was, from what I saw at the time watching that game, Braga actually looked fairly decent. I mean, from looking at the momentum here through FotMob, it looks like Braga were probably dominant for most of that game. I mean, both sides had chances. 7 shots for Braga, 11 shots for Real Betis. But if we look at the shots on target, only 3 for Braga. I mean, they did have 6 shots on target, Betis, which is quite a lot, to be fair. Well, it's a decent amount, to say the least. But I mean, from looking at stats there and from looking at what I saw, it looked a fairly tight game in the end, and it probably will be a tight game tonight. I mean, Betis and Braga are they're two good sides there, and both sides have got very good players that can hurt each other tonight. You got, for Real Betis, you've got Anthony out on that right hand side. You've got El Zuli on the left. You've got Hernandez up front, who I think has got 3 goals in this competition. And then you got, for Braga, you got Pal Victor up front, Horta, you got Martinez, you got Grilic in midfield. Both sides have got very good players. I mean, this game could really go either way, but Real Betis at home this year have been good. Braga away from home haven't been as good as they have been at home. So I think home advantage probably will come into play for Real Betis. And Real Betis at home on the European night do look a decent side from what I've seen. And from looking at Braga's recent away results in the Europa League, they haven't been great. So in the end, for me, I think Betis will get the job done. I think home advantage will come into play. And my prediction is Real Betis 2, Braga 1. And I think Real Betis will meet Freiburg in the semi-final. And I think Villa will play Porto in the other semi-final. So there we go. That's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to smash a like and subscribe. Do you agree with me in the comments? Let me know. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Goodbye.